Hey guys, this is RJS here. I've noticed quite a few people still struggling to get the 5 Gooser kills that they need for the Regen challenge. I recently helped a friend of mine who was struggling to get that. I think it was his worst challenge that he's ever done on Titanfall. He absolutely hated it. So I thought I'd share a few of my tips that I used for him, and just generally there's also been a recent update which has introduced Titan Insignias, and one of the Insignias is for 100 Gooser kills. So you might find yourself grinding a bit more if you really want that Insignia. So these are a few tips for those who are wanting to do that. So my primary tip for the loadouts is always the Chaingun. It seems to be the easiest gun to use for getting Goosers. I know people prefer using some of the others, but I can't recommend the Chaingun enough. As a Titan weapon myself, I normally use a 40mm, but that is just too random for getting Goosers. I also make sure I use the extended mag. That is definitely useful. Rapid fire tends to reduce accuracy, so I wouldn't recommend using that when you're going for Goosers. I also still generally reload quite often when I'm playing in Titan fights, just to make sure I've got enough ammo to actually shoot the pilot. In terms of the ordnance and the tactical ability, use whatever you feel comfortable with. I tend to use a custom missile and Vortex Shield myself, but I think you'll find that you get the Goosers when you're playing and enjoying yourself more. So play with what you're good with, play with what you enjoy playing with, and the Goosers should come. The Tier 1 and Tier 2 kits, I tend to use Regen Booster and Survivor, just simply because it helps me last longer and gets my shield back up as quick as possible, which is definitely needed with the amount of health I got at the moment. So in terms of the actual gameplay, I tend to always try to be the second or third Titan in the fight. Never go for the direct confrontation if you can avoid it. Try and go for the sneaky fights. If you can't avoid it, go for the direct confrontation, as you can see here, but try to play smart. I mean, I'm going up against an ogre which has full health. I've got very little health, so I've got to try to be a bit smarter about it. So I try to be a bit sneaky. I can make good use of my cluster missile in just a second, and also the Vortex Shield several times. So I weaken him up, use my Vortex Shield once again. He decides to start backing off. I'm not worth the trouble, he doesn't think. I then finish him off again, and there's the Gooser. So in terms of the positioning, you want to be about 30 foot back, I think, about 20-30 foot away from the Titan ejecting. Gives you plenty of room to actually see the Gooser. Obviously it makes it a little bit harder in terms of the size of the pilot on your screen, but it makes it so much easier than the pilot flying over your head when you're right next to them. Trust me, it makes it very hard to get a Gooser kill when they're right above you, because they'll just fly over your head and you just can't get them. So that's my basic tips for how to fight as a Titan. You can see here that I'm again trying to, in this Titan in a second, trying to be the second Titan going after him. I don't want to be the first Titan. I always try to stand well back. And also the thing to keep in mind for a nuclear ejection is that they eject earlier than the actual explosion. So what you'll find myself doing with a lot of these ejections, nuclear or not, is I tend to pre-aim in the sky, waiting for them. I've learnt a lot about where they tend to go when they eject. I can get them usually cloaked or not cloaked. In terms of cloaked enemies, it's a lot easier on certain maps. Like this map it will be quite hard because it's quite a bright sky, but on other maps it's a lot easier. The other maps which are awkward for getting Gooser kills is Rise. That's one that's incredibly awkward just because of the narrow corridors. As soon as the player wall grabs onto the side of the walls, it cancels out the Gooser challenge, so you can't get it. So I really wouldn't recommend trying to do it on that map. It's very awkward. Even this one can be awkward at times, because especially when you eject right next to the virtuality wall, but as you can see I just managed to kill him before he stuck onto the wall there. So that helped me quite a bit there. So this is one clip together where I just show myself getting a couple of Goosers and a few pilot kills in between. Now the clip you'll see in a minute is a double kill Gooser on the evacuation. This is a perfect time to go for Goosers, just simply because a lot of people tend to get the Titan doomed, evacuate, and then jump into the ship. So I was pre-waiting for them, and as you can see in just a second, it works absolutely perfectly for me. So this is RGS speaking. See you again soon.